My experience in college was a really, really positive experience, being that I was the only deaf person amongst many hearing students. And a lot of hearing students are not used to going to classes with students who are deaf or disabled. So I was able to expose them to my deaf culture, my language, my deafhood, and merged both of those worlds together. However, my biggest challenge was how to shift their perspectives. They tended to have a one-track mind, and it was difficult to get them to see another perspective. Was it easy to educate them? Not at all. It was something that had to happen on a daily basis. I would have to explain, when they would forget about accessibility. They thought it just meant having an interpreter and a student. That's not it. There's so much more to that. The preparation and explaining, concepts clearly, because in theater there's also all the terminology, and if the interpreter doesn't have preparation, it's very difficult to explain. When they're prepared, the interpreters can interpret more effectively. So in my experience, there was that, but luckily I'm very motivated to work. I'm passionate, and I had to work 2-3 times harder to learn and ask questions and meet with instructors, etc. It's one of the biggest challenges to navigate when I look back on it. However, it helped me learn a lot about the theater world. It's a lot to explain, but it was a challenge at the same time. It was hugely beneficial for me. An area for improvement would be if a preparation work were provided, and if there was education about people having deaf students in their class, so they're ready. So I had taken some classes, and upon coming to the class, the teacher gets completely overwhelmed when they see a deaf student, and they forget about their evaluation and goals. They have never encountered a deaf student before. They usually will tell me, "Oh, you did a very good job." But I feel, did I do a good job? I've used my language for years, but they tend not to look at my work and focus on my language. So I feel like it gets confusing. Sometimes it seems that goals or objectives need to be clarified. Hearing students have their own objectives or goals because they grew up in hearing culture with their hearing teachers, so it's easy to evaluate. With a deaf student, there needs to be more educational exposure. Maybe somebody with the hearing instructor to provide instruction. What I meant was a deaf theater professor who had experience, and they could work with that hearing instructor, and it would be much easier collaboration. That would be a huge improvement and easier for me to learn more. So it'd be beneficial for them, but also that combined with my language and context in theater. It's still a gray area. It would be really beneficial to have a deaf instructor. It would be definitely an asset to me. Well, emphasis on I can't hear. So we talk about work inclusion. I can't, and it's very frustrating. What most commonly comes up in theaters are cues. The hearing actors will automatically hear cues, whereas it's visual for me. It's the key thing, it's visual, and they totally forgot. That's the most common experience. Sometimes with props, for example, one character was angry, so the character threw down the prop, and the goal was for me to not look at the prop. But that contradicts my culture, because when it's dropped on the floor, I can feel it. I can't ignore it. I would immediately look. In deaf culture, you would look at it. You would always look. That's what you would do instinctively. So I couldn't ignore it, and that affects my character development. So, that's natural for me, and what they do, they have a different natural, so it's finding my natural, and that's a very common experience for me. In dealing with me, they just froze with the language and communication. They couldn't. And what they forgot is, in the theater world, we have theatrical language, but they don't think that applies to my language. There's gestures. It's the same. It's like suddenly their world stopped. They felt like, how do they communicate? And they just became obsessed over and over about communication. It's like, just be open. Many artists in the theater world are, very open to that process. Not suddenly you develop a fear of working with a deaf artist. Just be yourself. Be true to yourself. I mean, when a hearing person interacts to another hearing person, that's the approach you take. So take the same approach with a deaf person. So it's that mindset that hearing people think deaf can't. However, they can try to adjust in terms of language and communication. Most of the replies like, oh, I don't know sign language, or sorry, my communication isn't that great. That's not the point. The point is just be yourself. Be willing to try, use gesture, use movement, whatever method there is, write on paper. It certainly won't hurt to use that. So I tried to use that approach of stop obsessing over language and usage of not being able to communicate. Put that aside and just be yourself. Show your work, your effort as a professional, and treat us all the same. What's important is never give up on your passion. You're always going to have good days or bad days. Sometimes you're going to feel like you want to give up, but if you're really, really passionate about it, I mean, with your commitment, you'll keep going. Your passion will always be there. For example, I was trying to work on one character, and there was moments I felt like it was going well and other times where it wasn't, but I never wanted to give up, and it's because I'm not perfect in my craft yet. I'm always honing my craft. So I feel like if I could pass on a message to other deaf artists, it's that explore and discover. And I mean, no matter the barriers you face, you have to keep going. Do it with support. Be proud of your work. Doesn't matter how small the role is, work is work. Everybody has their own art. I have my own art too, so there you go. Theater companies need to become more open-minded and more welcoming. I mean, really, the fact of the matter is we're all human. We're all capable of creating beautiful work. What's imperative is access. Having interpreter, DIs or deaf interpreters, ASL consultants, ASL coaches, that collaboration is very, very important. Without all of that and a lack of accessibility, I mean, the deaf artists are going to experience many barriers. My last, really, I can say 2 words: be open.